Hello everybody, the students of higher secondary second year arts having economics. Myself Aurobindo Kherkatari, Department of Economics, SS College Hailakandi, Assam, India. In continuation of our previous class, that is Introductory Macroeconomics, we are discussing Unit 1 Introduction, and our discussion will be dealt on some basic concepts of macroeconomics. Final goods. Those goods which have crossed the production boundary line and are ready for use by their final users are called final goods. So final goods are those goods which can be finally used by the final users. By final users we mean consumers and producers. So there are two final users, one is consumers and the other is producer. For example, consumers are the final users of bread and butter. On the other hand, producers are final users of plant and machinery. So, bread and butter are used by the consumers, and the producers, they are the final users of plant and machinery. Intermediate goods. Those goods which are within the boundary line of production, that is, these goods are under the process of production and are not ready for use by their final users are called intermediate goods. The final goods are those goods which are ready for the use by the final users, but intermediate goods are those goods which are within the boundary line of production. So they are in the process of production and they are not final and are not ready for use by their final users are called intermediate goods. For example, raw materials like bamboo used by paper mill, tea leaf used by tea industry. So we can say that raw materials like bamboo, which is used by paper mill for the final production of paper. So paper is final goods, on the other hand bamboo is intermediate goods which is used as raw materials by the paper mill. Tea leaf is an example of intermediate goods because after processing the tea leaf in tea industry we get tea. So tea is final product, tea leaf is intermediate goods. Difference between final goods and intermediate goods. So we have already got the difference in our definition of final goods and intermediate goods. Let us have the difference between final goods and intermediate goods. Final goods only one side, intermediate goods. Number one, final goods are out of the production boundary. For example, bread and butter. So these goods are final. So they are out of the production boundary. On the other hand, intermediate goods are those goods which are within the production boundary. One is out of the production boundary, another is within. That is, intermediate goods are in the process of production. For example, raw materials. Number two, final goods are not resold and no value is further added to them. So final goods are not resold and no value is further added to them. On the other hand, intermediate goods are resold. So these goods are resold and their values is added to them. One cannot be resold, no value is further added to them. On the other hand, intermediate goods are resold and value is added to them. Number 3, these are not used as raw materials for the production of other goods and services. As these are the final goods, so these are not used as raw materials for further production of goods and services. Intermediate goods are used for the production of other goods and services. Number 4, final goods are included in the estimation of national income. So in the estimation of national income, we include the final goods. But intermediate goods are not included in the estimation of national income because these are not final goods. Only the final goods values are included in our national income. So final goods are included in the estimation of national income, but the intermediate goods are not included in the estimation of national income. Next, consumer goods and capital goods. Those goods which are directly used for the satisfaction of human wants is called consumer goods or consumption goods. So those goods which are directly used for the satisfaction of human wants is called consumer goods or consumption goods. For example, bread and butter. So these goods are directly used for the satisfaction of human wants. On the other hand, capital goods are those goods which are not directly consumed but are used for further production. One is directly used and another is used for further production. For example, plant and machinery. So plant and machineries are not directly consumed, but these are used in the process of production for further production. Investment. Increase in the stock of capital during the year is called investment of the year. Increase in the stock of capital during the year is called investment of the year. Hence, I is equal to delta K, where I implies investment, K implies capital stock, and delta implies change. So investment is nothing but increase in the stock of capital during the year. So how much there is change in capital stock in a particular year is called investment of that year. Fixed investment. Fixed investment refers to increase in the stock of fixed assets of the producers during an accounting year. During an accounting year, how much increase in the stock of fixed assets of the producer is called fixed investment. Expenditure of the producer on the purchase of fixed assets or capital goods like plant and machinery causes fixed investment. So expenditure of the producer on the purchase of fixed assets or capital goods like plant and machineries causes fixed investment. So these are the examples of fixed investment. For example, if at the beginning of the year 2010 A producer has stock of three machines, and at the end of 2010 he has a stock of 5 machines. Then the stock of his fixed assets increases by 2 machines, that is 5 minus 3 is equal to 2 during the year. Inventory investment. At a certain time, producers have with them the stock of finished goods, which are unsold goods, semi-finished goods, goods in the process of production, and raw materials. These are called inventory stock. So at a certain time, producer have with them the stock of finished goods which have not been sold, semi-finished goods which are under the process of production, and raw materials. These are called inventory stock. Gross investment. Expenditure on the purchase of fixed assets or an inventory stock during the year is called gross investment. So the sum total of both fixed capital purchase, fixed assets, and inventory stock during the year is called gross investment. So gross investment is equal to expenditure on the purchase of fixed assets during the accounting year plus expenditure on the inventory stock during the accounting year. So gross investment is nothing but sum total of both expenditure on the purchase of fixed assets during the accounting year and expenditure on the inventory stock during the accounting year. Gross here total. Net investment. Net investment is gross investment minus depreciation of the fixed assets. So if we deduct the depreciation of the fixed assets from gross investment, then we are getting net investment. So net investment is equal to gross investment minus depreciation. In other words, net investment means net addition to the stock of capital. Next, depreciation. Depreciation is the loss of value of fixed assets in use due to normal wear and tear, normal rate of accidental damages, expected obsolescence. So depreciation is the loss of value of fixed assets which are in use due to normal wear and tear, normal rate of accidental damages, expected obsolescence. Depreciation is also called consumption of fixed capital. It refers to the value of fixed capital as consumed in the process of production. Due to their depreciation, fixed assets needs to be replaced after some time. Replacement of fixed assets requires a provision for fund. Generally, this provision is estimated on annual basis. So to replace depreciation, so So due to depreciation, we have to replace our fixed assets. So it needs fund. And this depreciation is estimated on annual basis, that is annually. For example, if a machine is purchased for rupees 10 lakh and its expected lifetime of use is 10 years, then annual provision for funds to replace the machine after 10 years is equal to 10 lakh divided by 10 is equal to 1 lakh. This is called depreciation reserve fund. So annually we have 1 lakh from 10 lakhs. Next, stock and flow. Stock means the quantity of an economic variable which is measured at a particular point of time. So here particular point of time is the most important in case of stock. So stock means the quantity of an economic variable which is measured at a particular point of time. For example, amount in bank on 1st January 2010. On the other hand, flow is that quantity of an economic variable which is measured during the period of time. In the stock, there is a particular point of time. Here, during the period of time. For example, petrol bill of car rupees 200 per day. Number 2, stock is not time dimensional, but flow is time dimensional as per hour, per month and per year. So in case of stock, there is no time dimension, but in case of flow, there is time dimension as per hour, per month and per year. Number 3, stock is a static concept. So as against this static concept, flow is dynamic concept, changing. Number 4, some concepts in economics do not have their stock aspect. So some concepts in economics, they do not have their stock aspects. For example, imports and exports. On the other hand, imports and exports are flow concepts. Examples of stocks are amount of money, wealth, quantity of grain stored. Examples of flow are consumption expenditure, investment expenditure and income. So these are the distinction between stock and flow. With this, we end up today's lecture. Thank you all.